Morning folks, what we have here is a Fender Deluxe reissue, 2017 I believe. I bought this off reverb.com, got it for 500 bucks. It's virtually new. I'm going to put a mod kit in it. I got the Fromel kit here, and as you can see there are capacitors and various things in here, some jacks and a pot there. I'm going to mod the volume controls. I like this amp. I gigged with it last night, and it's a real beauty. So I'll be interested to see how it sounds once I've modded it. Probably give it just that little bit of edge. Here's the back of the Deluxe reissue. The usual stuff, the 6L6s, the tube amps here. One of the reasons I want to do some work on this amp is because the volume, as on all these amps, is difficult to control, sometimes switching back and forth. I did try changing out the 12AX7 here for a 12AT7, and it does sort of, give you a little bit more control on the volume, but I didn't like the shift in tone that happened. I got the volume on about 2.5. Everything else is set at 12 o'clock, including the presence, no reverb. And I'm playing a Squire Telecaster, as you can see. But I have put in 62 reissue Fender genuine pickups and rewired the switching in it, and I've got a paper and oil cap in there. So the guitar itself is quite a nice one. So I'm on my neck pickup here, and I don't know if you can tell from the mic on this camera, but it's pretty bright. And it's actually not a bad sound at all. But it is kind of got some piercing tones to it, so we'll put the mod in and see how that improves the smoothness of tone. And of course I'm all set here. I've got resistors, capacitors, you name it. This is the complete kit, the Supreme kit. Also got my non-acidic silicone glue there, and of course the solder sucker and some braid there to get rid of all the excess solder. So I'll throw this stuff in there and see how it goes. All the caps pulled out. I won't go through everything. There's a lot of little wires that need disconnecting here just so that you can get to everything. The old solder sucker is essential, cheap and very effective. Okay, all the old caps have come out. Filter cap here. These were glued to the board and had to be prized off rather gently. Bunch of little resistors, and the jacks come off the board. I'm going to install hardwire and some jacks, and the master control pot. So we'll be putting in a better pot, give us better control over volume. These, everybody knows about these. They overheat the board, so we're going to put in a couple of these longer ones. You can see where these go, right in here, two of them. There's a little bit of heat damage on the other side, a little bit going on, not much, but considering it's only less than a year old, less than a year of use, maybe used in a dozen gigs, it's already starting to heat the board up, so it's a good thing to be replacing those. Okay, now time to put it back together. I've installed the new caps, resistors, input jacks hardwired in, but hit a snafu here, which will probably make you laugh if you've seen these things before. These things give problems, these ribbons going into the board here. Sometimes these solder joints break. And so of course as you're working on this thing, this board is being moved back and forward because you need to access both sides of the board here to do what you got to do. And so these are moving, and of course they didn't come unsoldered. The damn things broke off completely. So these things are very stiff, they're not very flexible, so now I have to strip all these back. What I'll do is probably mount them and then put them through from this side, I think. This one seems okay, but this one's broken off, these are broken off. So this is just a nightmare for any tech who's going to go in here and have to work with this stuff. You know, it should have a little bit more flexibility than that, but oh well, you know, snafu. Everything else is going well. Okay, so we've got it all back together, and everything's working fine. Before I put the back on and finish up here, I just thought I'd show what I did with these ribbons. I actually cut them up into separate cables, and the autofocus on this camera sucks. Maybe a bit more light. No, it still sucks. So I put them in a separate, and I just think that'll make it easier. Those things broke off real easy. I was very careful with them, so I don't know if it's a new kind of ribbon cable they're using, but this has got a lot more flexibility in it now and much less likely to break off. So I will put it back together, crank it up, and we'll see how it sounds. I'm finding the amp much more easy to control in terms of volume. So it seems much more bell-like, the tones coming out of it, clearer, cleaner. The volume and the master volume have been reconfigured so that you have much more control, and then the drive acts as much like a volume. The drive pot almost acts like a volume pot as well, so there's a lot more control over what's going on, and I think that's going to be very handy at gigs. And so very happy with this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. Nice bottom end, as the actress said to the bishop. Sound seems to have really opened up. I'm very pleased with it. There's also a mod to the reverb in this, very simple little fix. That reverb just goes on for miles and miles, very clean, very smooth, and none of that crackle you sometimes sort of get with the reverb. So all in all, very pleased with this.